No, I knew you were. I told my wife, I'm like, I'm there. She's like, oh, that's pretty
This meeting is called to order. Please stand for the invocation. We had a last-minute cancellation, so our police chief is looking for us.
I'm just kidding. Let's pray. Father God, we just thank you for this time that we have together this evening. We thank you for the rain. We just pray that anything that comes with that rain, we just pray that you keep us safe and out of harm's way. Lord, we thank you for the privilege that we have to gather here as a community to talk about the business of the community, and that we disagree sometimes, but we'll all do it here for the better of our city, and that we pray that we do it and that do things that glorify you. Lord, let us have a good meeting tonight, and just do everything again that glorifies you, Lord, and we thank you for everything you provide for us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Chief. Good to see you. Chief mentioned the rain. We know there are storms in the area. We have people monitoring. If there's a storm that comes up, we'll make sure everyone knows. And we've got a safe location that we can go to. But we hope that doesn't happen for sure. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Dodson.
Here.
Councilmember Neeland.
Here.
Councilmember Petty.
Here.
Councilmember Sparkman. Councilmember Swain. Councilmember Wood.
Here. You have your copy of the minutes for last month's regular meeting. It was on April 22nd, 2019. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Motion to approve. Motion to approve. Second motion. Motion and second. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a resolution pertaining to a partnership with the Arkansas Department of Transportation on the Highway 59 and Interstate 40 interchange project. I'll ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
Be it enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas to partner with the Arkansas Department of Transportation for the following project: Job 040714 I-40 Highway 59 interchange improvements. Whereas the City of Van Buren City and the Arkansas Department of Transportation Department have identified the need of improvements at the Highway 59 interchange with Interstate 40 in Van Buren. And whereas the city has offered to partner with the department for these improvements by committing 20% of the projected cost up to a maximum of $3 million. And whereas the department will handle all phases of the project and provide all additional funding. Therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the city will participate in accordance with its designated responsibilities in this project. Section 2, the mayor or his designated representative is hereby authorized and directed to execute all appropriate agreements and contracts necessary to expedite construction of this project. Section 3, the city pledges its full support and hereby requests that the Arkansas Department of Transportation initiate action to implement this project.
Now, this partnership was originally set up, I think it was February of 2017. The mayor sent a letter to RDOT. The city council was all in agreement on this partnership. So now what we're doing, we're not changing anything in the partnership, we're just doing a resolution. A resolution was never passed in 2017. So as we're moving forward, this is just the next part of this process. So that we can finally alleviate the traffic at this interchange. Part of your packet, if you notice, what has changed since we understood that the way that you get these sorts of jobs finished a lot of times is cities have to partner. Okay, so that the RDOT is not just using money on their own, they're working with localities. A lot of localities will put up to 50% or even more into the project. So of course, the more money that's available, the higher it's going to rise in the priority list. So since we've originally set that letter, we sent it to RDOT. That partnership began 2017. Now, $7 million more dollars has become available. We've seen this completely rise up the priority list. The first list that it was on, it had to be on a plan. It's called the STIP plan. That every sort of project of this nature has to be on a regional plan. So it was originally on the STIP plan for 2019 for preliminary engineering. I think there was $700,000 available at that time. Now the new STIP plan has been completed. The end date for that is 2022. So it's a tentative date, but they hope that we will start in 2022. So that's a few years away, but there's a lot at the end of the tunnel. The next steps for us is to continue to put money back. Mayor Freeman has began to do that. We're pretty close to the 3% that we need. There will be public hearings from RDOT. Anybody can come out and look at the potential plans that they'd like to do, ask questions. We've all got to be on board with the plan, and then if that happens, then we'll start to see what works done. Any questions?
What do you think? How many years is this going to be?
I can tell you what they told me. They said towards the end of 2022. And I really think that that's something that we can do. We just need to make sure that we're on board with the plan, that we have all the right-of-way acquired. If any of that has to be acquired, we need to have the money in this partnership set aside. And so there's a lot to do, but I think it's positive.
Mayor, with such a large crowd that probably have all been affected by this, I think it might be a good idea to just kind of briefly recap the fact that we've been trying to address the traffic problems at 40 and 59 for quite some time. It's Highway Department and the city 2 years ago committed to partner with them. When we say partner, your tax dollars go towards the project, which helps move us up, and that was 5 years, I guess, down the road from when we partnered. So we are trying to remedy traffic issues that we have at 40 and 59. This is certainly good news.
When I worked for the city in a previous position, I did a lot of research just to looking into when did the city first start really raising the red flag about this with the authorities. And I mean, we went all the way back to 2007, I think, David. That discussion was being made about the interchange up there, and the traffic, and stoplights, and just all the whole mess. But what we've seen is we followed in the footsteps of other cities that get their projects done, and it's, like you said, it's taxpayer dollars that we're having to commit, and of course that's money that could be spent in other places. But we believe that this is such an important issue. It's an economic development issue. It's a safety issue. It's looking into the future of the city, and we're trying to be good stewards of that money. But like you said, there's a lot of people who've been through that traffic, and so we hope that this will get it done.
Do you know if it's still the same design? Like you're going to switch foot signs, or
That design, you know, we had a public meeting probably 2015 maybe, where we talked about all of their plans. There was a conversion to Bauman, there was some sort of a roundabout. A lot of those plans are not going to be done. There's a Colton's in that area at this point. We're not going to be going to get rid of Colton's or anything. And so they're having to go back. What they told us at that meeting was, let us go back and redesign and look at other options. And so that's the plan right now that we're waiting on. We're wanting to see what are your other options. just from what I've seen, and nothing's been done completely, just preliminary designs, I think it's a good fix.
Mayor, what do you think about this plan? Just how far out Rena Road is the Highway 59 going to go?
How far is Green Road we go?
Well, I know we're going to do some clover leaf and some jig jag. How far up to Hayes Hill is it going to go?
We don't know. We don't know yet. And that's really the big thing that
Yeah.
we need to do. We need to make sure we get the plan. We're going to have public hearings. We're going to listen to all the reasoning behind their options that they provide us, so that it's the best possible option for everybody. There's just a lot of issues. You've got trucks, big semis turning
Well-
left, stopping traffic. So a lot of things need to be addressed. Part of the larger plan is going to be further north on Highway 59. That needs to be addressed. Pointer Trail and that intersection needs to be addressed. And so those original plans that we saw, those monies were up to $25 million. This particular part of the plan for 2022 is going to be focusing on that interchange only. In the future, we'll look into how we can, relieve traffic.
When that guy was here from the Arkansas Highway Department, he said we could do 3 things, and he gave the option, but the last option was do nothing.
Yeah, that's not an option.
That's
not an option. So, if there's no other questions, we need a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved. Second.
Motion is second. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman,
Aye.
Councilmember Neeland,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
Councilmember Dodson,
Aye.
The ayes have it, and therefore declare the resolution number
05-01-2019.
05-01-2019 is passed. The next item on the agenda is a resolution accepting a bid for asphalt milling. I will ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
Be it enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution accepting the bid of Goodwin and Goodwin Incorporated for asphalt milling work as part of the 2019 in-house street overlay project and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Van Buren has advertised for bids for asphalt milling work as part of the 2019 in-house overlay project, and whereas bids have been received and opened in accordance with Arkansas law, and Goodwin Incorporated was the lowest bidder, meeting the bid specifications, and whereas the City of Van Buren has determined that the bid of Goodwin Incorporated is the best bid. Now therefore be resolved by the City Council of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the City of Van Buren, Arkansas accepts the bid $4 per square yard for asphalt milling as submitted by Goodwin Incorporated as set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto. Section 2, the mayor and city clerk are hereby authorized by the City Council for the City of Van Buren to pay all expenses relating to the project from capital improvement funds and to execute all documents necessary to effectuate the agreement.
This is just a standard procedure that we follow. One thing that I think is worth noting is 9th Street, that project that really began towards the end of last year. This is authorizing us to complete that. We've had to go out and get different bids and get the milling work done by a contractor, but we're going to be doing the overlay ourselves. So we're going to save a lot of money right there. So we're excited to get that work done, and we've got some other plans after that for other locations. And, I think that's about it.
Motion to approve.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman,
Aye.
Councilmember Neeland,
Aye.
Councilmember Petty,
Aye.
Councilmember Dodson.
Aye.
The ayes have it, I therefore declare the resolution number
05-02-2019.
05-02-2019 is passed. Next item on the agenda is a resolution adopting the Van Buren bicycle and pedestrian plan. I'll ask the clerk to please read the resolution.
be it enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, a resolution to be entitled, a resolution adopting a bicycle and pedestrian plan for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, and for other purposes. Whereas the City of Van Buren, Arkansas desires to prioritize parks and recreation improvements within the city, and in order to commence the projects, the City Council approves the development of a bicycle and pedestrian plan. And whereas the citizens of Van Buren, Arkansas participated in the development of the bicycle and pedestrian plan through meetings of the Van Buren Parks and Recreation Commission, responding to an online survey, and through other public meetings and community events held at various stages of the plan development. And whereas the completed bicycle and pedestrian plan will serve as a framework for creating a walkable and bikeable community in the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, and as a guide for budgeting for improvements on an annual basis and for the application of grants through various sources. And whereas the Parks and Recreation Commission has recommended that the City Council adopt the Van Buren Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan dated May 2019. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan dated May 2019 is hereby adopted by the City of Van Buren to be used as a framework for guiding the improvements and developments of the parks and recreation facilities in the City of Van Buren, Arkansas.
I'd like to introduce a couple members of our Metropolitan Planning Organization, Reese Brewer and Cody Schindler. They've done a lot of work putting this plan together. They've worked with other cities in the region on this particular type of plan and other plans. We want to look at this not only just for the City of Van Buren, but regionally. We're starting to see that, of course, in Northwest Arkansas, become more bikeable, become more walkable. And now we're excited that we've gone through this process to hopefully to move forward in this area. So if there's anything you two have to say, we'd love that.
Hello, my name is Cody Schindler. I'm with the Frontier NPO. And so we've been working on this plan since summer of last year. And so it's not a commitment of funds or, it's not a, you have to do X amount of sidewalks or bike lanes within a year. It's a guidebook to make Van Buren a walkable and bikeable environment. And so with that, we did provide Joe, who should provide with, you guys with a spreadsheet and a guidebook with prioritization. So you can input the roads, the collector streets, and so you can be able to figure out which ones is your highest priority, and you can go that way. Or you can use your own kind of methodology. But I know this is part of our regional plan as well, where we're trying to make all of Fort Smith region bikeable and walkable. And this also helps for grants as well, and you can show it's in a plan. So.
Any questions? No, I appreciate it, Cody. We had an expert visit the city, I think it was last year. April last year. His name was Mark Fenton. He is an expert in public health and works to build communities to make them more walkable and healthier and more physically active. And of course, that adds to the sustainability of the community and also the economic vitality. And from his inventory, he looked at the city. We did some walkabouts, I think is what we called it. We've got some work to do. And what's really neat about it is that we've started this conversation, I think at least 2012 was really the first time that we set some public hearings. There was a grant that we received, or we were trying to receive from the Parks and Recreation group out of Little Rock. And we started to hold public hearings to just listen to people in the city say, what do you want? What sort of priorities do you have for parks and recreation? And it was amazing how many people attended those meetings. I'd only been here for a couple of years, but I was told that it was pretty rare to have so many citizens come to public hearings. So clearly, even back in 2012, this is starting to become more part of the culture. More and more people are talking about it. And so next, we worked through the parks plan in 2015. We had more public hearings. We did online surveys like this plan does. And we've just started to talk a lot more about walkability and bikeability. And I think the city council mentioned bike lanes a few years ago and how we'd love to see that. So this is the next real step that we have, like Cody said. If you look at the numbers in here, I mean, it's going to cost multi-million dollars to implement the entire plan. But we're not going to do it all at once. This is something we're going to do piece by piece. And what I believe is that this is becoming a priority for the city. And as it comes, just like the interchange project, it's all about priorities. You know, the budget is all about priorities, and I believe that this has become a priority in this area for all those reasons that we mentioned. I was talking to Alderman Wood earlier. Went to King School. This is just a memory that I have. Going to King School from kindergarten to 5th grade, and then I went to middle school at Central. When I think about the memories of that experience, I always remember bikes and people riding to school, and the bike racks and my friends who are always on their bikes. It doesn't seem to be as prevalent today. People don't ride as much. I'm sure there's a million different reasons why. But what I think we need to do, and according to the expert, is we need to start offering these facilities. We need to become healthier. We've seen the stats about how unhealthy this part of the region of the country is. And so prioritizing walkability and parks and recreation, and we're building trails in the northwest part of town right now. I just think that this is a really positive for the city as we move forward.
I'm encouraged by, the number of options that are there that are not expensive. We can make a lot of, and we have talked about this as a body here. There's a lot of things we can do that doesn't cost a lot of money to make the community more aware of pedestrians and bicycle lanes and things like that. One thing that I thought was really interesting was the percentage of fatalities by just lowering the speed limit throughout certain streets in the community. It goes from 40% to 5% by just lowering it 10 miles per hour. That doesn't cost anything. Well, you got to change some signs out, but that was something that I thought was interesting.
Any other comments?
I do know at the meeting, I noticed a lot of citizens talking about safety, and so that seemed to be a real big issue with walkability and bikeability zones. And it's not just making your community walkable and bikeable, it's just protecting your citizens as well.
Yeah, and we began this process. We're in the middle of it. We're building trails currently. We have more sidewalks going in on Pointer Trail currently. Like I said, this is just we have to take it piece by piece. It's a little overwhelming when you look at the whole plan and the bottom line. But this is something that I believe that we can do. And so this plan will give us a framework to follow. And, it gives us grant opportunities as well, which is always good. So if there's no more questions, do I hear a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman.
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon.
Aye.
Councilmember Petty.
Aye.
Councilmember Dodson.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I therefore declare that resolution number
05-03-2019
05-03-2019 has passed.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
The next item on the agenda is an ordinance to amend the fence code. I'll ask the clerk to please read the ordinance in its entirety.
Bid enacted by the City Council for the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, an ordinance to be entitled, an ordinance amending Attachment A of Ordinance Number 20-2011, establishing procedures for residents of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas to acquire a fence permit, providing a variance process through the Board of Adjustment, providing an appeals process through the City Council, and for other purposes. Whereas it has been determined by contractors and developers that there is a need to amend the fence construction procedures and to clarify the procedures as it pertains to utility and drainage easements. And whereas notice of a public hearing was duly published and a public hearing was conducted by the Van Buren Planning Commission to consider these amended procedures, and whereas the amended procedures herein were recommended by a majority vote of the entire Planning Commission. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Van Buren, Arkansas, that Section 1, the amended fence permit procedures are hereby set forth in the amended attachment A hereto. Section 2, whenever the fence permit applicant confronts a unique or peculiar hardship that prohibits the applicant from following the procedures as set forth in attachment A, the Board of Adjustment may vary or modify such procedures in such a way that is consistent with public welfare and safety. Section 3, in the event a variance request by the applicant is disapproved by the Board of Adjustment, the applicant may petition the City Council for a review of the variance vote. The council may sustain the disapproval of the Board of Adjustment or refer the variance back to the Board of Adjustment for additional study and action as may be consistent with the requirements of the procedures. Section 4, the passage and approval of these amended fence permit procedures will protect the health, safety, and or welfare of the city and its citizens. Section 5, should any portion of this amended ordinance be unconstitutional or invalid and so declared by a court of competent jurisdiction, then the remainder of this ordinance shall not be affected by such partial invalidity.
Do we have a motion to suspend the rules and go to a second reading? Motion.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Therefore, declare the motion carried. Ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title for the second time.
An ordinance amending attachment A of ordinance number 20-2011, establishing procedures for residents of the city of Van Buren, Arkansas, to acquire a fence permit, providing a variance process through the Board of Adjustment, providing an appeals process through the City Council, and for other purposes.
We have a motion to further suspend the rules and go to a third and final reading. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Therefore, declare the motion carried. Ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title for the third and final reading.
An ordinance amending attachment A of ordinance number 20-2011, establishing procedures for residents of the city of Van Buren, Arkansas, to acquire a fence permit, providing a variance process through the Board of Adjustment, providing an appeals process through the City Council, and for other purposes.
This is a good example of rules and laws and regulations that we pass at this level that sometimes things change and the way we do business changes. And at the time, in 2011, there was an effort to accommodate the utility companies for some issues that they were finding across the city and across all parts of Arkansas, really, about fencing in easements and potentially knocking down fences on private owners and having to incur those sorts of costs. And so back in 2011, we made the change to pass this fence ordinance. And now, really, I commend the building department, David, and the planning department, the planning commission, the utility companies. We've had developers and builders work together to try to make it appeal to as many people as we can in the process. And sometimes making law, it's not a pretty process, but it's a lot of work and a lot of changes. And I think what we have here is satisfactory to everyone involved.
Yes.
Planning Commission does recommend it. Is there anything else I'm leaving out?
No, sir. Is this grandfather in those fences that are already built? Correct.
Yeah, we're not going to make it on. So if there's no further questions, do I hear a motion to adopt the ordinance as read?
I'll make that.
Motion. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Wood.
Aye.
Councilmember Sparkman.
Aye.
Councilmember Nealon.
Aye.
Councilmember Petty.
Aye.
Councilmember Dodson.
Ayes have it, I therefore declare the ordinance number
07-2019.
07-2019 is passed. Next on the agenda is the financial report. We have copies of the financial report. Will the clerk please read the amount?
$1,244,353.80.
Do I hear a motion to approve this report?
Motion to pay bills.
Second.
I wonder who's going to say that. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any opposed? Declare the motion carried. Under boards and commissions, we have a couple reappointments to make and one new appointment to make to the Historic District Commission. Mr. Paul Gibson, Mr. Darrell Porter, and the new appointment will be Mr. Lon Lund. Do I hear a motion to approve the reappointments and the appointment?
So moved.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
He's here, by
Any
Oh,
opposed?
okay.
the way.
He raised his hand.
I declare the motion carried. Did you bring any food from this?
Not today, we're closed on that.
Next, on the agenda, we have the department reports. You have copies of the reports from all the different departments. If you have any questions, you can ask the department heads. If not, I will declare them filed as submitted. Before we wrap up, I wanted to report that during the sort of appropriate for especially yesterday's, this weekend's tornado and the weather today. If you remember back in our tornado that we had in 2018, we had a big discussion at City Council, I think in November, was it December? Towards the end of the year there. There were a lot of questions about organizing help and what could the city do, what could the private industry do, what could churches do. And a lot of that came together, and it was a great relief effort. A lot of work was done by the whole community, and it was really a neat thing to experience. There was also a question of, are there funds available to reimburse the city for expenses that we incur? And since we did not, we didn't hit the threshold for assistance, but I want to thank the governor, Asa Hutchinson, and his liaison to the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. His name's Steve Eggensberger. We got completely reimbursed for all the expenses that we incurred. It was almost $11,000 cleaning up, and we didn't think there was any money available, but we went through the channels and put a lot of work together and gave them all the records, and I'm happy to announce that we got reimbursed about $11,000. So that was it's a terrible thing to have to go through, but going through that meeting and asking those questions, the community come together, it was really a neat result to see throughout the whole city. So,
I want to commend the mayor's office on going through those channels, because we're very pessimistic that we would hit anything. And it was a long shot, but it's nice to see that it took off.
We've come to have a lot better relationships with the state, and so that's just another example of working together regionally, working together with the state, and complying with what they need. And all the reporting, I appreciate the city clerk. There was a lot of work that was put together for that, and they said specifically, you guys, y'all did a great job.
Really? Well, thank you.
You got some on-the-job experience, didn't you?
Y'all did. It was an interesting time for sure. So, if there's any other questions, anyone in the audience have anything?
I'm going to ask for 2 neighbors and my wife, because when are they going to start the 9th Street repairs?
At this point, so school is out next Wednesday, I think it is. So, talk to Wayne. You talk to the company that's doing the milling. They'll basically be ready to start whenever we're ready.
Anytime after tonight, after council approved it, they'll be ready to move in.
So at this point, we'll probably wait until after school is out. And then get it. Thank you. Question?
Yes, sir.
Please just state your name and your address, and just so we have that for the record.
My name is Randall Carter, 2013 Falls Branch Lane. We're just off Rena Road. Many of the residents behind me are in our neighborhood, and we were here for the Planning Commission meeting on May the 7th, and we came back again this evening in anticipation that Mr. Chad Cox might appeal the decision the Planning Commission made that evening. My question to begin with is, what is the legal requirement for the City Council agenda to be posted online? What period of time is required under Freedom of Information Act?
2 hours prior.
2 hours. We called in about 20 till 5 today, and nothing had been posted online.
We've normally been doing that. I don't know if there was a glitch in that system, but we've been posting that on there in the supporting materials.
Okay.
But we have complied with the law, with all the notice that was given.
Okay.
But I apologize for that.
Yes, so we were looking for that. Also, and I don't know that these statements to be true, but it's rumors, and so I want to address those as well. We heard that Mr. Chad Cox had decided not to appeal the decision of the rezoning commission on May 7th. We've also heard that Mr. Cox or someone has plans to build HUD housing on the property at 1110 and 1118 Rena Road, and has begun at this point taking HUD applications. Do we have any legal notification or resolutions to oppose HUD housing in our neighborhood?
It's a zoning issue, so I believe that's R1 in that area. So
Yes.
single-family homes can go in by right. As far as David, you're at the planning commission. I think it was just standard procedure. The planning commission just says, because they denied that reason.
They denied it and just said, as we always do, if you want to appeal it,
If
you can
wanna
go forward to
it, you
appeal.
can come to the council. And you've got a certain amount of time that you can appeal. And I'm not sure if he has any more time after this meeting. I'm not exactly sure, but he definitely didn't come today.
Yeah, that was another follow-up question. Is there a limit from May 7th going forward, or are we at that limit and where we are on that?
I'd have to look it up.
Okay, thank you. Also, will there be codes to meet for the HUD housing that's intended for the property on Rena Road, or can Mr. Cox put in as many small houses as it can fit on the property? If so, that goes around the objection of the residents in the neighborhood and the planning commission.
There won't be any special treatment given just because it's HUD housing. It still has to comply with all the zoning requirements for the minimum lot size, all the setbacks, and
All the building codes are the same. We have not gotten anything on any development, which we will have to get some development plans because they're going to have to build streets, they're going to have to build everything if they do that. And nothing's been presented to us. To our knowledge, still, Mr. Cox didn't even own the property.
Right. That's what he stated at the last meeting.
Right.
Okay.
He wasn't planning on buying it if the rezone didn't move forward, so it
Yes.
didn't, you know.
He stated that as well. Thank you for your time.
appreciate it. Any other questions? Comments? Oh, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Motion.
Yeah, I already got that.
All in favor of the motion? Aye. All right, meeting is adjourned.